What's up, savages? Winter is upon us, and I love it. Why? 1, I get to bust out the flannels. 2, I get to bust out the flannel blankets. 3, I get to bust out the comforters. 4, coffee. Not only is it a necessity to wake you up, but it also warms your hands. So now it becomes a complete necessity in everyday life. If you don't get down with winter, then get the fuck out. Moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gandhi's Thoughts, brought to you by My Nutrition. I am Gandhi, and today I'm going to talk about a couple things. The first thing I got to do is talk about my opinion on Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, before we get into it, I want to say one thing. I haven't been here for 7 years. I don't know how Call of Duty is supposed to work. I'm just giving you my reactions of the game from what I've played so far, based on the fact that I've been playing competitive shooters for 11 years. And by shooters, I mean Halo. So the spawns, I know spawns. Halo kids know spawns way better than Call of Duty kids. I'm just going to tell you that right up front. Don't care if you agree with it. We do. Just accept it. Anyways, moving forward. Call of Duty Ghosts, for me, I can only look at on a competitive level. I've completely lost the fact of, like, oh, this game's good for casual. Like, I have no idea what that even means anymore. And I wish I did, because I'm sure at some level, like, Call of Duty Ghosts is really cool for casual. Like, Cranked is fun as shit. It's awesome. I love playing Cranked. Why? Because, you know, I get a kill, I have 30 seconds, I get that little anxiety rush. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta find this guy, and then I find him, and there's a second left, and I miss, and I die. Right? Like, I get that little bit of anxiety. I like that. I love the adrenaline pumping, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be a competitive game type, so why am I wasting my time? That's where I'm coming from. Now, before I get into it, I just want to clarify one thing. And I'm going to take a sip of water first. And then I'm going to put down my water, and then I'm going to look back at the camera and not the little lens to the right. Moving forward. No game has ever been successful being solely revolving. No game has ever been successful if it's only aimed to be a competitive game. That's just not how it works. Everyone likes to bring up League of Legends, but no, that's not the case. League of Legends is successful, and the reason Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was successful was because the casuals are playing the exact same game as the competitive players. What separates the casuals from the competitive players is teamwork, communication, positioning, skill, those kind of things. It doesn't have to be... It's not about the settings. It's about as long as the casuals are playing the exact same game as the competitive players. That is the most important lesson I can teach you from today. No game ever, period, has ever been successful being tailored solely to esports. It's never happened, probably will never happen. And the reason why is because you need the casuals behind the game. That's why Black Ops 2 was so successful. That's why League of Legends is extremely successful. Period. Sure, Dota 2, you can say, is designed to be competitive. Yes, it is. I agree with you 100%. But it's still the exact same game as I would play going in as a jamoke as you would play if you were a competitive player. That is the most important thing. So don't get carried away with people saying, oh, you have to tailor this game to esports. No, you got to just be esports savvy with it. You can have a game that's kind of noob friendly as long as it can be competitive too. And the key here, the main part of why it's how you can kind of flirt with that line is decrease the randomness. The less random the game, the better the game. That is it. Right? When you start taking things, and let's take Halo 4 for example. When you start taking things like ordnance drops, and I get 7 kills, and I can drop down a binary rifle, a fucking humpback whale, and plasma grenades, and you get 7 kills, and you drop down frag grenades, a middle finger that says go fuck yourself, and then a blow-up doll, how was that balanced? Now, if you really want to hear how it would actually work, at the Halo 4 pre-launch when ordinances were around, one team, I forget who was playing Instinct back then, but Instinct was playing a team, and they called down, Ogre 2 gets like a drop down, and it was a Needler, a carbine, no, it was a Needler, a scatter shot, and then something else like plasma grenades, and the other team, they get it, and they get double damage, they get a binary rifle, and they get a speed boost. Oh, that's one person. And the fact that double damage is coming down is completely unfair because the 5-shot then turns into a 3-shot and you're just mowing down your opposition. So right away you can see how that's completely random and there's no skill to that. So in order to make an esports savvy game for a multiplayer and still be able to grab the casuals, all you have to do is decrease the randomness. You don't actually have to make it noob friendly. You don't have to make it so like everyone can shoot someone in the fucking knee and everyone dies, right? You don't have to do that. Just decrease the randomness. Now, Call of Duty Ghost time. When I look at Ghosts, I think it definitely needs a patch. I don't understand why they would get rid of Capture the Flag. I don't understand why they would get rid of Hardpoint. I really don't. Like these are two things that like completely mind blowing to me. Like Capture the Flag is a staple in indigestion, in competitive play. Like, for all shooters, like, Capture the Flag has always been there. But it's okay. They took that out. My biggest problem is not necessarily with the fact that Hardpoint's not there. And although I think Hardpoint made Black Ops 2 for me personally, for the short little bit of time that I played. I only played it for like a month and a half, 2 months. But Hardpoint made it for me. It really separated the good teams from the less good teams, right? Like, you were able to see a deviation between teams based on Hardpoint, as well as Search and Destroy. But Search and Destroy has always been a staple in competitive Call of Duty. For me, when I look at Ghost, the spawns are atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. The only spawns that I know that are consistent is Search and Rescue. And the only way they're consistent is let's say you're on the enemy team, I'm pushing up, I'm running, I got my MTAR, so I got lightweight, and I'm fucking sprinting up in you. I get killed. The bomb goes down. My tags are still up. You guys arm the bomb. So we're on defense. You guys are on offense. You guys arm the bomb. If my tags get picked up, I am going to spawn at the enemy's spawn point, their original spawn location, and I'm going to be behind the bomb guy. I can't tell you how many times I've killed the bomb guy just sitting in the fucking corner, you know, with his pants down, like just taking notes, just because he's not going to expect me to get that flip spawn. So when you die and your tags get picked up in the bomb's arm, you spawn in the enemy's base. That's consistent, at least. It's consistent. Does it make sense? No, but it's consistent. Other maps, like Domination, it's so, just doesn't make sense. And Cranked is, I might as well slam my head into a bucket of nails. Like, I just don't even want to look at Cranked. I think one of the main problems that it comes down to is, once again, developers putting a lot of influence on line of sight. I think line of sight really has to be decreased. It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. I hate how powerful line of sight has become just because people don't want to be spawn killed. I understand that, man. Then don't make your maps so crappy. Like, your maps are humongous. Like, every map in Call of Duty Ghosts is huge. I think it's safe to say that Call of Duty Ghosts is tailored for 5v5 and 6v6 play. It is. But the problem with that is not the fact that it's made for 5v5 or 6v6. It's the fact that 7 years of Call of Duty, it has been 4v4. When you establish a competitive niche and when you establish what people enjoy, who like the smaller maps, you can't go and change it anymore. There's no going back. That is done. You can't go back anymore. There's no trying to change everything. Like, that's what Halo tried to do, and it did not work. You can't completely change your formula. You guys had what works. 4v4, arena style, symmetrical maps. You don't need asymmetrical maps, and the reason why asymmetrical maps don't work in Call of Duty is because there's no power weapons on the map. So there's no reason, if one team has good side, there's no reason for them to actually push up. Because why would they? They have the good side. You have to come to me, I have a lead, fuck off. In Halo, you have those power weapons on the map, so asymmetrical maps, you're able to move around better. Or, well, you actually have a reason to move around, and you can move around better than the other team. It adds a new dynamic, but that's not Call of Duty. So what you have done is you've taken away what Call of Duty is. You have made it so it's 5v5 or 6v6, and the players aren't ready for that. That's a whole different ballgame. And now I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I understand that, but look at the maps and tell me they're not designed for 5v5 or 6v6. And in fact, I would say if you were able to get a hold of Activision or Infinity Ward, whoever you want, they would probably tell you that it's designed for 5v5 or 6v6. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work for Call of Duty. It doesn't. Now, if you look at it and you take it and you go to, let's say, Titanfall, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Titanfall isn't... Shut up. No one likes you. Moving forward. Titanfall could be 5v5. It could be 6v6. Fuck, it could be 7-on-7. It doesn't matter. This is the first game of the series. If it is a series, I have no idea. This is the first game coming out. Whatever works for competitive play, the players are going to adapt to. Because we have no previous bias. There's no bias that says, oh, this is what works best. Okay, period. There is none. So whatever it is, we will tailor ourselves accordingly to it. And that is something that a lot of developers need to understand. If your game comes out and it's 4v4 or 5v5 or 6v6, whatever it is, stick to that. Stick to whatever the first game was and just keep building off of it. Imagine if League of Legends came out and they said, well, friends, and by League of Legends, I of course mean Riot. Riot, just you just see Freak come out and he's like, well, 5-on-5 was cool. We're going to make it fucking 7-on-7 now. What? The whole community would have an uprise and people would destroy Riot. You hear me? They would destroy them. Because that community knows what's best for the game. It's 5v5. Just like Call of Duty knows what's best. It's 4v4. Just like Halo knows 4v4. But when you're talking about a brand new game, you have to put you have to put it all behind you because it could be 5v5. And if it's what works best, then that is what you actually have to stick to. And that's really the whole point of this. So for me, Call of Duty Ghosts, I think it's cool. I'm having fun with it. But for competitive, I think there's some glaring issues. There's still no rule sets made, which my assumption will be Friday, which means the players will have 4 days of playing the rule set. But I get the problem. I mean, my team that I'm coaching, not my team, let's rephrase it, the team I am coaching, they even on the team, there's like discrepancies between opinions. So there's no one set thing, and it's very, very delicate situation, and I think MLG has their hands full, and if there's a company who can do it in this short amount of time, it's going to be Major League Gaming, but at the same time, if they're not careful, they are going to destroy it. I think that's it. It's really how it works. It's either one or two ways. They either make it the best they can, or they just shit the bed and there's nothing they can do about that. But is it their fault? No, it's not. But anyways, that's my little rant today. I love you all, but I don't love you all. Take it easy. That sounded weird, didn't it? Didn't even like that. I didn't like that one bit. I love you all, but I don't love you all. I'm Skylar Sear, and I forget how to sign out. Let's try this again. I love you, but I don't love you. Take it easy.